Previously, Xiao Wu discovered that there is a real dragon in Jinmen and thought of revealing the truth to the public, but she found out Chu Ting already knew and was trying to keep it from everyone for specific reasons. After a while, Chu Ting gives Xiao Wu a formation to give to Gong Yu to cure her illness. The formation helps the user with their training in martial arts. He had made 4 of this particular formation and gave one to his mom and Chengxi. Chu Ting tells her to advise Gong Yu not to force herself into training anymore, but Xiao Wu replies that there is a reason Gong Yu forces herself to train that much and leaves. Well, Chu Ting doesn't understand what she means. Meng Zui gets jealous and asks him who Gong Yu is, and he slyly tells her that she is his fiancé. She kicks him and he falls to the ground. He asks her to help him get up as he is weak. He explains to her that it's the side effect of Zhang Xudong's poison, which King Mai had no cure for, causing her to go find Lai Yan. Chu Ting brings up the talk about Meng Zui's pregnancy. He thinks she was joking just to provoke him. He scans her body and finds out that she is really pregnant. Getting back to Meng Zui's place, Chu Ting takes some rest. Chu Xiao suddenly arrives and sees her brother lying down unconscious. She becomes scared that Meng Zui killed him, but later discovers he is fine. Meng Zui tells her they are now married and shows her the marriage certificates, which shocks her. She asks Meng Zui questions about it, but she doesn't reply. She then tells her to go and bring her parents to her place as the Yi family is no longer safe. After Chu Xiao leaves, Meng Zui wonders about the chaos the city will turn into when the news about King Mai and Lai Yan's deaths spreads. The news spreads, and the Yi family discovers that it is true. Chengxi feels bad that Chu King knew about her mom's condition and refused to tell her about it. Yi Mai and her daughter arrive, and, pretending to care, Yi Mai tells them that she will get revenge for King Mai. Yi Wanqing, knowing she is deceitful, tells her not to worry as she and Chengxi will avenge their mom alone. Yi Mai and her daughter leave, hoping that they will kill Mr. John next so the Yi family can become theirs fully. Tang Xian's mother also sees the news and tells one of her subordinates to learn more about the situation. The Lai family also desires to seek revenge for Lai Yan. Chu Ting suddenly wakes up and is surprised to see his parents beside him. He wonders why they are in Meng Zui's house, and Chu Xiao tells him that Meng Zui instructed her to bring them since the Yi family is no longer safe. Chu Ting discovers that he slept for 2 days and wonders how chaotic the city must have become. He quickly dresses up and heads to Yi Pharmaceuticals. Yi Wanqing asks why he didn't tell them their mom was injured. He suggests it was her mom's idea, and Wanqing thinks he must have known how to cure her but refused to. Chengxi doesn't say anything. She stares at him, looking depressed. Feeling lazy to start explaining everything to them, he just tells them he is also in deep grief for King Mai's death, and there is nothing he will gain from her death that would have caused him not to cure her if he could. Out of pain, Chengxi refuses to agree with the fact that her mom has died. She believes that she is only trapped somewhere. Wanqing then asks him why he has come to them, and he replies that King Mai's last wish was to let Chengxi become the patriarch of the Yi family. Wanqing says this was what he wanted, so he could marry Chengxi after she became the patriarch, so he would automatically become the master of the Yi family. Chu Ting agrees, and Wanqing sends him out. As he leaves, she asks about their mom's dead body, and Chu Ting tells her that the jade dragon swallowed it in the Yunjing River. Wanqing becomes angry and attempts to grab him, but she breaks down in tears. Yet, Chengxi doesn't say a thing to Chu Ting. Chu Ting leaves and bumps into Cao Wei. He asks her about the pill she is making, threatening to blame her if anything goes wrong. He leaves and reasons that he needs to refine some nurturing pills for the poison in his body. After refining, he heads to Meng Zui's place with his last jade stone. On seeing her, Chu King decides to use his powers to detect whether the baby is his, but Meng Zui avoids it. Chu Ting begins coughing blood from using his powers, as he has yet to recover from the poison. Chu Ting gives her the jade he brought and takes his leave. He has no choice, he has to protect the baby, but he seeks to find the true father and kill him. Meng Zui wonders what the jade is for and drops it, assuming it won't benefit the baby. She lies on her bed and tries to sleep but can't. She is disturbed by thinking about the jade, so she decides to try absorbing it, but she feels some pain and quickly drops the jade. However, she realizes that the baby is fine and discovers that the jade contains pure inner power, so she starts cultivating with it. She thinks about Chu Ting and reveals that the baby is actually his, and she has just been trying to provoke him. That night, Zhou Buken and his other friends meet Chu Ting. They tell him that they have been concentrating on cultivating and have progressed massively. They ask him when he will return to school, as Tang Xian has been throwing tantrums around since he has been absent. Chu-Ting asks them what they plan to do after graduation, and they tell him they might enroll in university and get on with their lives. Chu-Ting asks them if they have ever considered dropping out and doing what they want. Jo Bu-kun replies that they really love to deal with the society and asks him if he can help them speak with Tang Xian so they can be accepted in the Tang family. Chu-Ting tells them he can put them in Kushing Menshu, and they are shocked. He tells them he wants them to join Kushing Menshu and work in the management department. Jo Bu-kun asks him if he is working for Kushing Menshu, and he shocks them when he tells them he is married to Meng Zui. They ask him what he wants them to do, and he tells them to find every man connected to Meng Zui. They all report to Kushing Menshu Company the next day, ready to resume work. Chu-Ting is surprised that they really did quit school. He introduces Chuxin, Meng Zui's assistant, to them as the one in charge of them. Chuxin reports to Meng Zui that Chu-Ting brought his classmates, and Meng Zui wonders if Chu-King gave her the jade stone in exchange for getting his guys to her company. At night, Chu-King meets Chengxi in a park. Chengxi tells him she doesn't know why Chu-King treated her so well, even though he doesn't want the Yi family's legacy. Chu-King tells her it's because she is easy to persuade and tells her he will stay by her till the Yi family rises to become the strongest family in the city with her as the patriarch. Chengxi asks him if her mother told him anything before she died, and he answers that her mother said he should take care of her and her sister. He adds that Wanking is proving too troublesome. Chengxi asks him how he will care for her and tells him to help her become the patriarch. Chengxi tells him that Yi Mai already has most of the Yi family in her hand, with just a few left on her own side. She tells him that she and Yi Mai will fight for the position the next day in front of everyone, including the Lai and Tang families, who would be there to mess things up so they can gain an advantage for themselves. She says she must not fail, as the name of the Yi family won't last if that happens. Chu-Ting tells her to leave it to him, assuring her she will become the patriarch. After a while, Chengxi receives a call that her sister is in danger, and Chu-Ting asks her if her sister has died. Chengxi gets pissed at this question and bites him. She asks if he wants her to die. They soon get into the car and head to where Chengxi's sister is. On the way, they notice two cars following them, and not long after, one crosses them. Yi Mai comes out of the car and is surprised to see Chu-Ting with Chengxi. She thought Chu-King had betrayed the two sisters. She reasons that if she kills Chengxi now, she will become the patriarch, but she dies. Considering that Chu-King is with her, the game will be over. She can't risk her life on this, so she turns around and leaves immediately. Chu-Ting and Chengxi arrive at Yi Pharmaceuticals and meet Wanking with Jingzhu in a ward. Wanking's leg is broken, but she is fine. Wanking sees Chu-Ting and asks him why he is here, since he already has Meng Zui with him now. However, Jingzhu tells Chengxi to take her sister out, as she wants some moments alone with Chu-Ting. Jingzhu tells him that even though Wanking doesn't like him, she believes him because King Mei chose to believe him. She then asks him what he plans to do in the next family meeting. He tells her it depends on the situation, but one thing is definite: Chengxi will become the patriarch. Chu-Ting then asks if Wanking and Chengxi have the same father, which shocks Jingzhu, wondering if King Mei told him anything. Chu-Ting tells her that King Mei told him a brief story, but some parts are vague. Jingzhu tells him that King Mei only gave birth to 3 daughters and that Yi Mao is an adopted son. Chu-Ting is shocked and asks about the 3rd daughter, saying the daggers he threw into the Yunjiang River had some name inscriptions, He and Huang. Jingzhu, unwilling to talk about it, tells him to leave. Chu-Ting prepares to take his leave. He wonders what really happened between the Lai and the Yi families. Wanking tells Chengxi that Chu-Ting is only trying to take advantage of her and will dump her when he reaches his aim. She also mentions that he has been living at Kushing Menshu and even brought his parents there, suggesting that he is the kind of man yearning for prosperity only. Chengxi tries to defend him, but Wanking doesn't listen to her. Chu-King gets to Kushing Menshu and gets blown away by Meng Zui's beauty. She teases him, and he becomes shy. She then asks him why he has come to see her, and he requests that she accompany him to the Yi family the next day. She denies it and says she wants to go back to bed. However, Chu-King blocks her and asks if the baby in her womb absorbed the heavenly dragon aura. He wonders how the dragon would feel if it realized it lost the aura to a mere kid. Meng Zui, now getting scared, tells him she will go with him to the Yi family's meeting. Chu-King tells her he is not trying to scare her, but is only telling her the truth, as the heavenly dragon would have certain effects on any absorber, let alone a baby. Meng Zhu becomes more scared and asks how it could affect the baby. He replies that the baby could be disabled or die in the womb. Hearing this, she begins to cry and asks him what she can do about it. He assures her that he will care for the baby no matter what happens and leaves. She is determined to protect the baby with her life, unlike her mother, who neglected her when she was little. In Chu Qing's room, he is concerned about the poison in his body, which hinders him from using his power. However, he takes his mind off it and says it is nothing, as he has already lived 2 lives, and it is just death he will face. The next day, he sees Meng Zui's car and attempts to break the side glass so he can enter and drive it away for his mission. But Meng Zui appears and shows him the key instead. She has decided to go with him. She feels this is a perfect chance to enhance Quishing Meng Zui's force, and she tells him that if she encounters some wolves along the way, he has to help her. They drive off, and on their way, Chu Ting tells her that there's a creature that can assist the heavenly dragon aura. He says the creature usually stays next to the baby dragon to help it nurture the aura, which, without it, the baby dragon can never withstand the aura. They need to find it if the baby in Meng Zui's womb must be fine. However, the baby's soul will still have a dragon part to it. Meng Zui is surprised and says she will go and find the creature when they return, but Chu Qing says the creature is not near the jade dragon, and he is the only one that can find it. After a while, they arrive at the Yi family mansion and head inside. On seeing Chu Ting, Chengxi attempts to greet him, but Wang Qing stops her. Tang Rong, the patriarch of the Tang family, asks Meng Zui why she is present. She reasons that she has come to destroy all that she has labored for. Meng Zui mocks her and the Tang family. She then says she just came to watch the fun between the families and tells her not to worry. Being careful not to offend her, Tang Rong leaves her and protests that Chu Ting is not supposed to be allowed into the Yi family's assembly hall. The others agree, but Chengxi explains that Chu Qing is her fiancé and should be allowed to attend the meeting. Tang Rong still supports her point and says men are never usually allowed in such meetings. She also points out that Chu Qing doesn't act like husbands, but rather lingers with women around. Chu Ting asks her if he said he wanted to enter and insults her that she is jumping up and down like a monkey. Tang Rong gets angry and attempts to attack him, but Meng Zui fires a shot from her gun. Yimai stops them from fighting and says everyone should sit inside. However, Chu Ting refuses to join as his presence is not welcome. The meeting on who to become the next head of the Yi family begins. Chu wonders why Yi Meyer and the supreme realm martial artist in the Tang family didn't show up on such an important day. He reasons that Yi Mai and Tang Rong have some moves up their sleeves. Yi Mai announces the commencement of the voting, but Tang Rong interrupts and asks what conditions the competitors must fulfill to qualify to become the head of the family. Yi Mai tells her that the person must be a member of the Yi family, have the blood of the ancestors, and must have made significant contributions to the family. After hearing this, Tang Rong nominates the 4th elder Yi Tao, and Yi Tao gladly accepts. Yi Mai feels betrayed as Yi Tao had sworn to vote for her the previous night. Chu begins to clap, and Yi Mai wonders why. He tells them that Tang Rong did something amazing by nominating Yi Tao. He tells Yi Tao he is curious about what agreements she and Tang Rong have reached or how much she sold herself for. Yi Tao angrily insults him, and Meng Zui points her gun at her. Tang Rong states that Meng Zui has come to the meeting only to cause trouble. Meng Zui points the gun up and pulls the trigger, blasting the roof. Chaos almost starts, but Chu Ting interrupts and suggests they should all vote on Tang Rong's nomination first. The vote's tied at 2-2. Now, Chu Ting is expecting Tang Rong to show her card. Tang Rong signals to the 7th elder of the Yi family, and she also votes in favor of Yi Tao, making Yi Tao ahead. Yi Mai gets angrier that the 7th elder also betrayed her. Chu Qing secretly tells Meng Zui that she should lend Yi Mai her gun. Yi Mai takes the gun and kills Yi Tao immediately. Meng Zui then snatches her gun from Yi Mai, pretending not to be involved. Tang Rong gets angry and tries to attack Yi Mai, but the Yi family defends her. Tang Rong asks for evidence to prove that Yi Tao sold herself, and Wang Qing brings out a flash drive. She connects it to a computer, and some pictures are displayed of Yi Tao meeting Tang Rong at a tea house 2 days earlier. Tang Rong denies that there was anything, and Wang Qing tells her that she has a recording too. Tang Rong gets scared and takes her leave to avoid being exposed. As she leaves, Chu Ting asks her if she still remembers Lai Yue, but she doesn't respond. On getting outside, she is pissed that Wang Qing screwed up her plans. She remembers Chu Qing's question and tells her subordinate to gather others to head to the Lai family. Yi Mai says they should continue with the voting, But before that, she mentions that someone tried to assassinate her daughter the night before, and she was severely injured. She accuses Chengxi as the culprit, but no one says anything. Yimai feels awkward at the silence and says she wanted to find Chengxi immediately. But Meyer didn't let her. So she brought Meyer to the meeting to ask Chengxi in person to avoid misunderstanding. Some people bring Meyer in on a stretcher, and as they walk, Chu Ting places his foot in one of them's paths so that she trips and falls. Chu Ting then takes a gun and shoots at Meyer, but she quickly jumps and dodges the bullet. Seeing this, he starts to mock her. She leaves in shame. The voting begins, and they start to vote for their respective persons, Yimai or Chengxi. The seventh elder, Yi Xing, votes for Yimai. However, Yi Yu, the sixth elder, protests against it, saying she shouldn't be allowed to vote since she sold herself to the Tang family. As Yi Yu speaks, Yimai shoots at the wall close to her, threatening her. Yimai announces herself as the new head of the Yi family and then signals to the Lei family to attack. Yimai unleashes her power and launches an attack on Chengxi and Waning. Chu Ting quickly swallows some pills and becomes very powerful. A martial master tries to block him, but Chu Ting punches him and summons his sword. He dashes at Yiling, the fifth elder, and kills her. He then turns to attack Yimai, but Lai Huanzhi blocks him, hitting each other with enormous power. Chu Ting feels pain and wonders when she practiced this kind of poisonous skill. He reasons that her poison power is stronger than Zhang Xudong's. Yimai criticizes him for killing Yiling and demands an explanation. She even calls Chengxi's attention to it, but Chengxi declares that he hasn't done anything wrong. Wanking brings out a file stating that Yiling has committed many crimes and used her position to gain personal benefits, making her guilty and worthy of death. Yimai says that even if Yiling was guilty, it wasn't in Chu King's right to kill her, as it was against the rule of the Yi family. Chu Ting asks her who gave her the authority to convict him, and she answers that she has the authority since she is now the head of the family. Chu Ting laughs and says since she agreed that Yiling was worthy of death, it means her vote should also be annulled. Thus, she isn't yet the patriarch. Yimei gets angry and becomes determined to kill Chu Ting. They'd all prepare to attack him, but he tells them he has another backup besides Meng Zui. However, Lai Yuan, an elder of the Lai family, reveals that Chu Ting is already poisoned by Zhang Xudong's poisonous palm and tells him to quit trying to act strong. Chu Ting is shocked. He didn't know someone else knew he was poisoned. He also reminds the Lai family that Tang Rong has left and must have headed to destroy the Li family. Lai Huanzhi gets angry, but Meng Zui blasts her gun toward her before she can try to attack Chu Ting. Lai Huanzhi suggests they return home, but Yimai disagrees, saying the Lai family promised to make her the patriarch while she makes the Yi family a branch of the Lai family in return. However, Lai Huanzhi doesn't listen, and when Yimai tries to attack her, she throws her off with her power. Chengxi is shocked that even Yimai isn't a match for Lai Huanzhi and wonders when she became so strong. Yimai escapes from the window since she knows the Yi family won't let her live as the Lai family has already backed out. Wanking asks Xu Xing if he is really injured, as Lai Yuan claimed, but Chu Qin doesn't open up about it. He feels Wanking is cruel and would seize any opportunity to get rid of him without mercy. Xiao Wu enters with Yimai in her hand, already dead, and she leaves. Yimai sees her mom and runs towards her. Meanwhile, as she runs past Chu Ting, he transfers some of his yin energy into her body, unknowingly to her. Yimai brings out a detonator and threatens to blow up the thousands of explosives underneath them. Chu Ting asks her what she wants, and she says they should let her go. Chu Ting tells her she can go, and Wanking protests against it. Chu Ting asks Yimai if she wants anything else, and she tells him she wants 5 billion. However, Chu Ting is just trying to buy time till the poison he transferred into her body begins to work. Suddenly, the detonator drops from her hand, and she begins to have sores all over her body till she dies. Chu Ting is so affected by the poison that he can hardly suppress it again. Wanking and Chengxi realize that this poison affected their mom, and they wonder if Chu Ting is also affected. Wanking dismisses all the elders and asks Chengxi to push her wheelchair toward Chu Ting. Wanking spitefully congratulates Chu Ting for finally achieving and asks him when he will marry Chengxi to reap the fruits of his victory. However, Meng Zui interrupts and says they are now married, and Chu Ting won't be marrying into the Yi family. Chengxi is shocked. She snatches the marriage certificate and checks if it is true. Meng Zui then warns Wanking not to say something offensive to Chu Ting again. As Chu King takes his leave, he reasons that Lai Huanzhi's palm induced more poison into his body and wonders what technique she used to increase her combat power quickly. On his way out, he meets Jingshu. However, he can't hide the poison's side effects anymore and begins coughing out blood. Mengzi tells Chengxi not to look for Chu-Ting anymore, and she leaves too. Chengxi bursts out in tears, and Jingshu meets her crying. She tells him that she ran into Chu-Ting, and he seems seriously injured. Chu-Ting manages to get outside and sees Xiao Wu. He falls into her arms and tells her to take him to Quishing Mengzhu. Mengzui sees them and gets jealous. On getting to Quishing Mengzhu, Xiao Wu brings him out of the car, and Mengzhu quickly takes him from her. She tells her to return later when he is fine to ask him anything she wants. Xiao Wu protests that he is her lady's fiancé and she would not leave. Mengzhu carries him inside and roughly drops him on the bed, telling him to stop pretending. She is angry that he looked for Xiao Wu when he was weak instead of her. Chu-Ting grabs a pen and paper and writes a list of medicinal materials for her to get him, so he can use them to treat his wounds. Xiao Wu comes to meet him, and he gives her a martial art jade pendant to help repair her nerves as gratitude for her helping him. She tells him she didn't help him much this time and would help him again when he faces the Lai family. Chu-Ting tells her that the Lai family must die within 10 days, and she asks how he plans to kill them. He says he would give the Tang family courage and the Yi family strength. Then, Xiao Wu tells him that the poison in his body is wuxia, a vicious martial art technique used by the Empress to control dead men. She tells him that the palace chief can get rid of it, and he can go to the imperial capital to ask Gong Yu if he needs help. She adds that wuxia is something that the empresses of the past dynasties created to restrain the world's martial artists. Chu-Ting wonders how Lai Huanzhi could practice this technique and increase her strength quickly even though the technique is hard to practice. Xiao Wu replies that it is expected as the Lai family has a piece of the wuxia technique. Xiao Wu tells him that the technique also has disadvantages. It exhausts the potential and talents of the cultivator, completely ruining the path of martial arts and limiting their progress. Mengzui arrives with the medicines Chu-Ting listed, and both she and Xiao Wu leave the room so he can begin his cultivation. A week later, Wanqing and Chengxi are worried that Chu-King has yet to show himself since he left the last time. Xiao Wei arrives with the good news that King Yi 2, the drug she has been working on, has finally been developed, and it's better than its alternatives on the market. Wanqing tells them that it must not be leaked as they won't be able to protect it with their current strength. Chu-King's mom meets Mengzui to ask about what happened to her son. A few days back, Chu-King's mom challenged Mengzui, asking what she had done to her son. Mengzui revealed that she and Chu-Ting are now married, and Chu-King's parents were shocked. On hearing this, Chu-King's father blamed Xu Xiao for being the reason Chu-King was forced to marry Mengzui. Chu-King's parents began to treat her as their daughter, and Mengzui was shocked as she was abused by her own mother when she was young and had never been treated like this. Back to the present, Mengzui wonders if she should tell Chu-King's mom everything. A lady runs in to report that Chu-King has finally come out of his room, and they are all surprised. Chu-King is surprised to see his mom, and he looks at Mengzui, wondering if she told her anything, to which Mengzui signals no. He just gives a random reason for not coming out of his room and excuses himself to go and take his bath. After a while, Chu-Ting returns from the bathroom and wonders if his mom has gone because he might have to tell her the truth if she continues to bug him. He is surprised to see Mengzui in his room, and he asks about his mom, to which Mengzui replies that she left to attend to an urgent situation at her company. She asks him about his injury, but he doesn't know how to answer whether he is fine or not. He tells her that he only managed to temporarily suppress the poison in his body and could not eradicate it. They both discuss the situation of the Tang, Lai, and He families, and Chu-Ting tells her that he has to help the Yi family gain its power again. Mengzui reacts out of jealousy, but Chu-Ting tells her he would have the same for her. Mengzui gets pissed and leaves, and Chu-Ting is surprised that she is jealous. Chu-King prepares to head to the Yi family, but meets Zhu Buken and his guys. They tell him that they have found out what he asked them to find out, and they discover that Mengzui only has close relationships with 3 women and no man. Chu-King is surprised and reasons that the baby in Mengzui's womb is his. He turns around and runs to meet Mengzui in her room. He hugs her and asks her if she has anything to tell him. Mengzui doesn't understand what he is doing and sends him out in anger. At Yi Pharmaceuticals, Chu-Ting tells them to launch King Yi 2 but Wanqing objects, saying they can't protect it if a war begins. However, Chu-Ting tells them that they should think long-term. He says that Shizhen Auction House will hold a large-scale medicine auction the next day, and the forces of Jinmen and neighboring cities will participate. He adds that what they need to do is to share the interests of King Yi-no, two in exchange for alliances with other major cities, which will make it difficult for the Tang family to grab the drug from them, as they will have to deal with the families of other cities also. Wanking asks him what if he can't do it, but he assures her it will be done. Chu Ting heads to Jia Yu's place to tell him he wants him to organize a medicine auction. Jia Yu tells him it's a difficult task, as he would need to follow the due protocol before it can be done, which would take 3 days. Chu Ting tells him he wants it done the next day, and Jia Yu becomes shocked. They both head out of the house and discuss the auction while driving along the road. Chu Ting asks him how fast he can do it, and Jia Yu replies that it would take 2 days if he fast, except he bends the rules and doesn't follow the due process. If he did that, Jia Yu tells him it would cause him grave consequences. Chu Ting, not wanting that, tells him to do it slowly then, but he says he wants to as he has always lived a boring life abiding by rules. Jia Yu takes Chu Ting to his home and meets his grandma to tell her about his plans to hold a medicine auction the following night. He asks her to help him invite the forces from Jinmen and other neighboring cities to the event. She is surprised and tells him it is too sudden. Jia Yu says he just made the decision and that she should tell the family that it's urgent. Chu Ting returns to meet Wanking and discovers she has not started making any preparations. She tells him she didn't initially believe what he said could be achieved and says she will begin making preparations immediately. Chu Ting tells her he has planned everything well and that if it fails, he will not have anything to do with the Yi family again. He goes back home, and on getting to his room, he meets Meng Zui there. She asks him about the auction plans, and he is shocked, wondering how she knows. Meng Zi tells him she wants to kill Zhu Buken and his guys and feels she should inform him first since they are his people. She tells him they killed who they ought not to kill and wonders who instructed them to. He accepts that he is responsible, and she gets angry that he brought them to work with her so they could spy on her. However, Chu Ting draws her to himself and kisses her. However, Meng Zui pushes him away and slaps him. He gets pissed and leaves the room to check if Zhu Buken and his guys are still fine. He discovers they are fine. Meng Zui didn't touch them, and he feels tricked by Meng Zui. The medicine auction soon begins at the Shizhen auction house. Wanking is surprised not to see Chu Ting. It reaches the Yi family's turn, and they present King Yi-no, too. After proper assessment, they win the auction. Tang Rong is shocked that the Yi family defeated the Tang family, a family of medicine which has been refining medicine for hundreds of years. The Lai family, too, is shocked as they never expected to be beaten by the Yi family, even though they already knew the Tang family would. The men from the other cities commend the Yi family for producing such a great drug. Jia Yu reports to Chu Ting over a video call that the auction event was successful. Tang Rong checks the news about the auction and is angry that the Tang family lost to the Yi family. In just a few days, the Yi family has gained 80% of the market and formed alliances with many forces around. A lady rushes in to tell Tang Rong that even if they raise the price of their medical materials, they can't suppress the Yi family as King Mai invested all her resources in pharmaceuticals. They have enough inventory to keep producing King Yi-no, 2 for 3 years. On hearing this, Tang Rong begins to cough heavily and almost collapses. Meanwhile, Lai Huanzhi also receives the report that most of the Lai family members have run away. Lai Huanzhi says that the Lai family is over, and anyone who wants to run should run. The next day, Chengxi is nowhere to be found and is not answering her calls. Chu Ting receives a call from Wanking, who tells him they can't find Chengxi. He reasons that the Lai or Tang families must have taken her hostage. Wanking says it's not them, as they would have given their conditions. She tells him that Chengxi has her reasons for not picking up calls, and she is afraid she might think of doing something stupid. Chu Ting is shocked and asks her what she means. She explains that Chengxi sorted out their mother's belongings 2 days earlier and must have found some secrets related to her biological father. Wanking reveals that she and Chengxi are not siblings of the same parents. However, she is shocked when Chu King tells her he already knows, and he mentions the other details that Yimao is adopted, and they have another sister. Wanking tells him that Chengxi's other sister was taken by her father back to the Lai family when she was still a baby. She speculates that Chengxi must have discovered all these and might also think Lai Huanzhi is her other sister. She also tells him that she is afraid that Chengxi has gone to the Lai family to get revenge after finding out about the old grudges between the Lai family and the Yi family. Chu Ting tells Wanking he will go and find Chengxi while she also goes to the Lai family to prepare for bringing Chengxi back. Wanking sees this as a chance to end the Lai family for good. Chu Ting heads to the park Chengxi took him to the previous day, and he starts asking for her whereabouts from the officials there. He is told that she came around but has left already. Chu-ting reasons that she must be headed for the Lai family, and he chases after her. He finally overtakes and blocks her way. Chengxi asks him if he came to stop her, and he replies he came to accompany her to the Lai family. She tells him she made an appointment with Lai Huanzhi in a fight of life and death in front of the Lai family's house. Chu-ting reasons that she is yet to find out the truth about King Mei. They leave their cars behind and walk to the Li family house. Chu-ting tells her that she cannot beat Lai Huanzhi as she has become very powerful, even more than himself. Chengxi asks about Chu-ting's injuries and grabs his hand, telling him they should return home. She asks why, and she says she doesn't want all his efforts over her to waste by dying now. She then asks him when he will fulfill the promise to give her the whole of Jinmen, and he assures her that he will make it happen. Walking arrives with her men, ready to combat the Lai family. Tang Ji also comes with Xiao Wu and the Chengfeng army. Chu-ting sees Tang Ji and reasons that Tang Rong must be up to something, so he secretly calls Meng Zuid to send someone to watch over the Yi family. The Lai family appears, and they wonder how they should handle the situation. Someone from inside runs out, shouting "back door," and is seriously wounded. Meng Zui arrives and tells Chu-ting that she has already sent someone to watch over the Yi family. Suddenly, Tang Rong makes a grand entrance with a truck from the back door. She thanks Chu-ting for blocking the Lai family from escaping. Tang Rong orders her Don Tang Lion to fight Lai Yuan while she faces Lai Huanzhi. Tang Rong dashes towards Lai Huanzhi. Tang Rong hits her with her palm, but Lai Huanzhi is unaffected. Lai Huanzhi leaves Tang Rong and goes after Tang Lion instead. She smacks her with her poisonous palm from behind while he faces Lai Yuan, and he falls to the ground. She matches him and causes an explosion. Lai Yuan tries to avoid the explosion, but Tang Ji kicks her unexpectedly, sending her to the ground. Tang Ji walks up to her and torments her. However, Lai Huanzhi grabs a gun and shoots Lai Yuan dead. Everyone is shocked. Lai Huanzhi drops the weapon and attacks Chu-ting, hitting him with her poisonous palm. This sends Chu-ting flying about 30 meters away. He begins to cough blood. Lai Huanzhi runs away, and Chu-ting discovers that Lai Huanzhi's palm sucked away the poison inside his body. Wanking says they should chase after Lai Huanzhi, but Chu-ting tells her to let her go as the Lai family is now destroyed. Wanking then says she wants to confront the Tang family, but Chu-ting stops her and tells everyone to retreat, as the purpose for which they came has been accomplished. Chengxi gives a short speech and dismisses everyone. Suddenly, Wanking feels sick and starts to cough blood. Chu-ting scans her body, and Chengxi carries her away. They all leave, leaving only Chu-ting and Meng Zhu behind. Meng Zhu discovers his spiritual power has been restored and asks why Lai Huanzhi saved him. He tries to explain, but she tells him not to bother. She then asks how Tang Rong took advantage of the fight to destroy the Lai family. It happens that Chu-ting already agreed with her, which favors both of them. Meanwhile, at the Xing family's house, Xing Lai is angry that Tang Rong missed a good opportunity to defeat the Yi family for the little profit she will get. She later reasons that Tang Rong is playing smart to take the chance to win the Yi family's allies to her side, after which she will kill the Yi family. At Kuxing Mengju, Meng Zui asks Chu-ting what his plans are after settling the Yi family's matter, and he answers that he will go catch the dragon so he can protect his son. Chu-ting then tells her he will be moving to Vermilion Bird Street and wants her to move in with him. Meng Zui blushes. The next day, Chu-ting and his family head to the mansion on Vermilion Bird Street. One family down, who's next? Let us know if you want the next part in the comments section by commenting reverse. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you guys in the next video.